my God, you guys, are you guys ready for a Pi Day exclusive? It's Pi Day exclusive. Ready?
Happy Pi Day week.
Hey, Caitlin, what time is it?
Seltzer Time!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time Podcast. It's your boy Ricky, aka Dick Chuck, aka the man behind the can, Seltzer Time official. Here, as always, with my conversation accomplice, the man with the hunch about Worcester, Travis.
What is crackin', Fizzle Fiends? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time Podcast. We missed you last week. We had to deal with some, I'm not going to swear. No, this is a different episode, so we're going to try really hard to not swear. I totally said whatever. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you for coming in. We missed you last week. We just had to deal with some personal stuff, and with everything else going on, now we're here. It has been an interesting time.
It's been, so I saw this tweet earlier that was like, dude, it's weird that Wednesday was 6 months ago. And I was like, oh my God, you're totally right. Like, it feels, every single day has felt like a month.
Oh, truly.
Especially the last, 4 or 5 days. But, like, every day is longer than the one before it. It's like, there's more things are happening. Things are getting worse. Like, it's been kind of strange. And then realizing that it's only been a week since we've put out a podcast. And I'm like, I don't even.
Yeah, dude.
What?
I mean, it's 3 months into the year. The president was impeached. We lost Kobe, and now COVID-19. Like,
dude, it's been a very wild couple of months. So yeah, especially, I don't know. How are you
Well, I've been
right
good.
now?
I'm holding up. I hope everybody listening is holding up equally as well.
There you go.
Just hanging out, trying to talk to people, trying to stay connected as best I can through the interwebs.
Yeah.
Reminding people that we still care about each other, and even though I can't see you, doesn't mean that I don't care about you.
It's true.
And then just adapting lifestyles.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I picked up a contract with Sustainable Comfort in the past 2 weeks. Really excited to do some work with them.
Nice.
And because of that flexibility and given my previous employer, I'm able to work from home and still be able to help them out. So
That's awesome.
super cool. I was lucky, extremely lucky in this situation to find an opportunity like this, because I'd be in the same boat as everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. How are you holding up?
I'm good, man. It's really scary. It's scary thinking about. So I'm not really that scared for myself.
Yeah.
I watching all of a majority of my friends literally lose their jobs last night for the next, best case scenario, 3 weeks has been very, very strange. Watching, things kind of, I've taken it seriously for sure. Leading up to it, it's Wednesday night, I think, was the night that the NBA got canceled, and I just remember laying in bed and literally watching the entire
Twitter
world structure fall down around me. It was just kind of a wild experience to watch that happen.
This has all been insanely fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, it feels kind of weird being it became real for me when sports went away. But I'm like, and I know a lot of people don't care about sports, and that's totally fine. But to me, it's that's a huge pillar of my life. I'm a massive sports fan. I love sports talk. I love everything about it. And to kind of watch it go away in front of my eyes was very weird to me, because it's always been there. Through everything, it's there.
Sports is a luxury we as a society have, because we have solved a lot of the immediate problems of food, shelter, water, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're able to enjoy something which is sports, but with it being suspended, the last time I can remember games got suspended like this was during the marathon bombing. That was the last time, and even that was hyper local.
It was hyper local, and it was 1 or 2 games here and there, or some things didn't even get at all. I think the Bruins played that night, or the night after. It's when the whole arena sang the anthem, and you think the Red Sox were playing while it was going on, right?
Yeah.
They start that game that day or whatever. I've never, and I don't think anybody has lived through a time where like, they always say like the day like the earth stood still or the country stood still, and it's like holy crap, like we're watching that happen. We're living through that right now, and that's kind of a wild, like eye-opening experience. And then, for that to happen on Wednesday, and then for the rest of sports basically to shut down on Thursday, which there was no way you could keep playing, like, at all. People are like, nah, it's the NHL, it's not the NBA. I'm like, dude, they share arenas, man. Like, it doesn't work that way. They're in the same place. Like,
I'm surprised they went with the shutdown aspect. I mean, truthfully, it just shows how
they
much...
were going to only ban fans until Rudy Gobert was tested positive. If he didn't get test positive, they would have gone. Now, that's speaking prior to the last couple of days of everything like really, really, really like coming to a head. But the goal was to play games without fans. That was the next step. It wasn't to ban everything or to pause everything. It was to play without fans. The minute he was tested positive, that was gone. It literally is one case changed the entire outlook of sports for the foreseeable future. Because he was there and he was in multiple arenas, they don't know how long he had it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that's undetectable.
It could take 2 weeks for you to start showing symptoms, stuff like that. So it's as soon as he was found positive, it was pretty much it. You can't continue to go. It just also, I mean, there's got to be more guys who probably have it.
Yeah.
In every sport.
Just statistically.
It's just, you can't, it's wildly unsafe. So that happened. And then, just things have kind of like crumbled around me since then. And then watching again, watching all the bars and restaurants close to like, as a meeting place. They're still doing takeout and stuff. But that doesn't help my friends who are bartenders and servers and chefs. I mean, you only need, one or two cooks to just run everything out.
Yeah.
So it's really scary.
The service industry is hurting.
Big time. And it's across the country. It's not,
it's
you know
not
what I mean?
isolated.
There's no, like, you can't go anywhere safely. It just sucks.
So I do love the tenacity of the people around us, and they're figuring out new ways to adapt and like not just keeling over and dying, but instead figuring out, all right, well, if this is the new normal, how do I make the new normal work?
Yeah.
And that's super admirable. And again, it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of creativity, but this is a creative city.
Yeah, just get creative. That's it. That's that's what happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're hit with a problem, and like the easiest thing is to just stop.
Right.
But it's like, no. We're in a time right now where like you have Instagram Live and you have Twitch and you have these things where you can do other things. Like a lot of people are working from home. So there's still income coming into a majority of people. And that is awesome. It's definitely made this, not the end of the world. If this happened 15, 20 years ago, then what? You know what I mean? Like things are a lot different now. People can work from home. It's good. But yeah, so which also leads to like the entertainment aspect of it, where it's like if you are a comedian or a musician, you can set up a live stream and ask for donations via Venmo, PayPal, stuff like that. Like there's options, there's things that are set up. People still need entertainment. People are still making money. Some of them, not all of them. And either way, it's like if you're that good, live stream it right now. People have nothing else to do. They will promote what you're doing. And then when things go back to normal, get those gigs, get those paying gigs at bars and breweries and stuff like that. Like until then, like figure out a way to stay connected to everybody and figure out a way to support everybody. Like it's really, really, really scary.
That support thing is really the best segue I could ask for in terms of what we happen. So we didn't tease it off the top, but this week we had the pleasure of talking to Representative James McGovern from our beautiful Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
When we booked him, we were going to talk about just what it was like growing up in Worcester, because he's a Worcester native.
Yeah.
So you just wanted to talk about, what it was like growing up here and seeing the city evolve. But clearly now we have a different conversation at hand.
Yeah, things things changed the last couple days. So
to his credit, we had a fantastic conversation with Representative McGovern, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best interviews we've ever done.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, had a blast. He was great. He's definitely working really hard to help out.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very evident.
And he's showing what an approachable politician can really look like.
Yeah, exactly.
So enjoy this, guys. Also, before we get going, big shout out to Craig Blaze and Lisa Drexage from the WBDC. Thank you for the beautiful space we were recording this podcast in.
Thanks, guys. We feel like adults.
Yeah, it's the same place we recorded with Lisa and Jess when we recorded for Powwow. Yeah. The view is fantastic, and the WBDC is doing wonderful things for the city.
Good.
Yeah, cool. We'll probably touch on. I love your social media approach. Like, I literally love the fact that you're just on Instagram, like making dinner last night.
I did. I know. I mean, I was like, what the hell? I'm trying to balance the phone and mix my food, but
it's a challenge, right?
It is. It's very hard. I mean, I was like, I was gonna call my wife to say, "Can you videotape me?" And I was like, I aggravated her enough, so But no, I mean, it's like, I thought it was kind of important to do something not coronavirus,
totally
related, just because it's St. Patrick's Day, and so
cool.
All right,
sweet. Can I get started?
Okay.
Operated?
Cool. Are we going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll cut out everything that isn't relevant.
All right.
But yeah, so as you hear today, we have Representative James McGovern of Massachusetts, Honorable James McGovern. I had to look up all the different ways that I should properly address you, so please.
Jim?
Right. Works for me.
Right.
I actually got to meet Jim for the first time at Worcester Wares when you came in a couple weeks ago to check out the market, and I was sitting there with Sean Rainford, and we had a nice little chat, so it was awesome to see you again.
No.
Sorry, it's in different times.
I know. Things have changed.
A little bit.
But the Worcester Public Market is incredible, and and I want once we get over this coronavirus thing, I mean, it'll be packed again, and but it's a great destination place, not just for people in Worcester, but I was bumping into people from all over the region who were visiting.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Working at the store, people coming in all the time. They're like, "Hi, like Worcester definitely changed." I'm like, "Where are you guys from?"
Well, that's it. I mean, those of us who are here, I mean, I don't think we noticed the changes. The dramatic changes because we're here all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but as people who have been away, for a couple of years, come back and like, wow, I can't believe this. And there's a lot of great things happening here. And what's happening in the Canal District is exciting, but it's not only in the Canal District, it's all over the city. There's some neat restaurants and bars that have opened up. There are neat destination places. We've worked on fixing up the Common a little bit. I mean, I remember when I first got elected, I mean, it was awful, but now we have a skating rink and we have nice places to sit, and Main Street is coming alive again. Main South is coming alive, and so we just got to keep it going.
Yeah. Push through this nonsense. As soon as this COVID stuff ends, it's right back out and right back to business. The challenge is what happens to the businesses that are now struggling through this stuff, and then how do we continue to support them even though we can't necessarily go and patronize them in their establishment. I want to see more restaurants figuring out ways to serve takeout, figuring
Absolutely.
out ways to connect.
And those of us who want to support those businesses need to help highlight who's doing takeout on our social media accounts so that people know that they can get takeout food at X, Y, and Z restaurant. And because look, we want these restaurants to get through this. And, we're going to help them out by trying to, patronize them through, the new ways we have to do business, at least in the short term. But, the government's going to have to do something too. I mean, when the banks, ripped us all off and almost destroyed our economy, we had to bail out the banks. Here, these small businesses, these restaurants, these bars, they've done everything right. And they're thriving, and and now they're faced with this, and we have to be there with some sort of I hate to use the word bailout, but some sort of a package,
some kind of assistance,
right? That goes beyond just loans. We will. There are loans available, and the Small Business Administration on the federal level is aggressively trying to get the word out there. But for some of these newer businesses in particular, they got loans up to their eyeballs already.
Right.
So another loan is like, it may be helpful. It may be helpful for some, but not for everybody. And so whatever it is, there's going to have to be another package. And in Congress, I mean, we initially a week and a half ago passed a package to help support our hospitals and get more diagnostics in place and more testing accelerated. And we tapped into our strategic reserve to make sure more protective gear is available for the doctors and nurses in our hospitals and our first responders. I mean, they need to be protected.
For sure.
And so and there was money for other things as well. Passed the House, Senate, the President signed it. Then last week in the House, we passed another bill to deal with issues of unemployment insurance, parental leave. I mean, if your school's closed and you got a 10-year-old kid at home, you can't leave him or her alone. So parents are going to have to leave their job. How are they going to pay the rent or the mortgage? Never mind how do you pay for the food. Where we waived work requirements on SNAP. I mean, some beneficiaries on SNAP are required to work in order to get the benefit. Clearly under these circumstances, we can't adhere to that. Once no one goes hungry. Helping provide more resources to deal with the fact that a lot of kids who get their meals in schools, may not get a meal at home. How do we make that? How do we meet that challenge?
I saw that they're, not to cut you off, but they are putting the bus program, so Tracy Novak, I forget her third name, but through Worcester Community Organization or Worcester Community, some community organization. Just been reading.
Tracy O'Connell Novak. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Tracy O'Connell Novak. Thank you.
Good. She's been very good on her social media, by the way, reminding all of us of the locations where kids can get meals.
That was the thing I was bringing up. Is that
we all should repost that. I mean, even if we don't have kids in the school system, we ought to.
We know somebody who does.
Right? Yeah, we do.
Somebody's got to
right.
Exactly.
And
that was the stuff I was like, yeah.
And so those things, those things are, all very, very important. But anyway, we passed in the House. The president, after being difficult, finally agreed to it. Now we have to, but then Mitch McConnell went home for the weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know whether he knows it or not, but this is a big crisis and we need to act quickly.
It doesn't take the weekend off.
Right, yeah. So when he comes back on Monday or Tuesday, he's going to have to do it. Now he's saying, well, maybe we want, some of his Republicans are saying, maybe we want to change it. If we change it, it means the House has to come back and reconcile the differences with the Senate, and we all have to pass it again. I mean, we don't have time. I mean, we ought to sit at the table like grown-ups, work some of this out before we bring them to the floor. That's what Pelosi did with Mnuchin and the administration. And let's go.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's going to have to be a number of other packages. We have to do more for small businesses. We're going to have to find some way to help keep these restaurants and bars whole. I mean, they're an important part of our economy. And there are some workers that don't fit into nice, neat categories that we're going to have to make sure that they, get the support that they need. And again, hopefully this is not going to be, beyond a few weeks. But we don't know. And
that's the scariest part.
It is scary. And look, I'm gonna give high praise to the city manager of the city at Augusta, and to the mayor Joe Petty, to the city councils and the school committee members. The decisions that are being made here in the city are being made on the basis of science and on the latest medical information available. It's not being, we're not doing things based on panic, nor are we doing things based on denial.
Yeah.
It is on, what the experts tell us is the appropriate thing to do. And so I know it's difficult, it's inconvenient, but this is about saving lives and trying to get over this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's where we're heading.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about this beforehand. It's not anything personal to anybody. Just this distancing, the social distancing thing too, can feel so isolating and can feel so targeted.
I wish we had a different word other than social distancing, because physical distancing is better, but social distancing implies that we're not going to talk to one another.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think it's important, especially now, that we talk to one another.
Yeah.
And and we just have to be smart. I mean, people need to get food. Go to the supermarket. When not during the peak hours.
Yeah.
That's just a smart thing to do. We all have neighbors that are elderly or who have compromised immune systems. When we pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can I help you get anything at the grocery store so you don't have to go out?" I mean, those little things all add up, and we wash our hands, which sounds so. Ridiculous. I know rudimentary, but it's like but it
like the number one preventative measure.
Yeah, just wash your hands.
And we all been down. I mean, it's 20 seconds lathering up, and
what's been your song of choice?
Well, I mean, the CDC says sing "Happy Birthday" twice.
I haven't fully because I rushed through "Happy Birthday." I don't think so.
You do it 2 times.
So I've been singing Lizzo. So I've been I throw my hands. I've been
making up my own songs.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not surprised.
My daughter keeps on changing my ringtone. My phone. My ringtone is sicko mode. Believe it or not.
Is it really?
And it went off during a hearing the other day, and everybody was kind of like. Then it went off during a press conference with the majority leader, and I was like, well, I mean, my music tastes are.
Right.
Are all over the place.
You're just resonating with the younger voice.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Sicko mode. That's great. That's so you mentioned people who don't fall into like a neat category in terms of like what their job is. Musicians, I've noticed, are in like a lot of trouble right now.
Right.
Big, like whether they're a big.
A lot of people in the creative community, arts and music, and look, we've not, this is something that none of us.
Oh, it's unprecedented.
Yeah, there's no answers.
Now, having said that, there was an office put in place when Bill Clinton was president, actually to prepare for this stuff.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, some people have cut that office, and they
won't answer the question when directly asked.
Well, but
you used to work for a different news outlet.
Right,
that was his answer.
Right. But the point of the matter is that when we get through this. We also have to understand this won't be the last time something like this happens.
Exactly.
And so, how do we prepare for this better? How do we coordinate with the rest of the world in a more effective way? It really is unforgivable to me that China kept this from the world for so long, and then I think lied about what the reality was and the people that were dying, and
somebody compared it to Chernobyl.
Yeah, I mean
it's not far off.
And. But economies are being destroyed. I mean, in Italy, look what's happening in Italy now. Everybody's confined to their homes.
Yeah.
And people are dying. Now, look, I think we have to all put this into perspective. I mean, this is a terrible thing. But for a lot of people who get it, it'll be a terrible ordeal, but they'll get over it, right?
Yeah.
What we need to do is make sure we're protecting some of the most vulnerable here,
right?
Because this is a very, very serious illness.
So we're talking about it very seriously, but there's some things that you, our listeners, and we should be doing that people are doing that we really should stop doing, is my point. Like the hoarding nonsense needs to stop.
Yeah.
The run on toilet paper, which
there's no reason to have toilet paper for the next 2 years.
So I read up about that. Some people are theorizing that it has something to do with like the lowest common, or not lowest common, but the easiest way to soothe yourself. It feels like you've done something to prepare, which you really haven't done anything, but it makes you feel like you have.
Really?
It was seen back in '74 during like the gas shortages that there was a run on toilet paper.
Well, toilet paper is not going to prevent you from getting the coronavirus.
No.
But it is frustrating when you go to a supermarket and there's not a single roll of toilet paper. So hopefully that panic over toilet paper has reached its peak and we're going to get beyond that. But also, you don't need to buy groceries for the next 3 years.
Right.
And that's, I mean, and we just have to use our common sense here, so hoarding is a selfish thing to do, because that means that maybe your elderly neighbor or somebody who's doesn't get to the supermarket very much because they do have a compromised immune system, they have health issues. That means they get there and there's nothing.
Right.
So we just got to be sensible. There's enough for everybody.
Truly.
And let's just go about this in a thoughtful way, and remember that we're part of a community. And when I think of a community, I think of a place where people concerned about their families, but also about their neighbors and the person who lives across the street or over the back fence or up on the second or third floor of a 3-decker or whatever. I mean, we just have to be decent, and hopefully the best of this community will prevail, and again we'll get through this.
Yeah, well said. I mean, I couldn't agree more. This is, it's. I mean, I know everybody's instinct is to squirrel things away, but it doesn't help anybody.
No, not at all.
And then anyway, I don't know. It frustrates me. Well, because then you see the people online, you see people selling the toilet paper at like crazy pricing, and they're getting their online.
Well,
feedback. It's
like the people who are selling hand sanitizer, like the tiny bottles for like $64 or something on eBay. I mean, please. I mean, there's a special place in hell for those people who, who are trying to make money off of a crisis like this. Look, hand sanitizer is important at this particular moment, as is soap. I mean, because that's one of the ways we can help prevent the spread of it. The idea that you're hoarding it and then, selling it for, 20 times its normal cost, because you want to take advantage of this crisis, I think is a crappy thing to do. I just do. I mean, it's whatever.
But the pharmaceutical company does it. It's crappy.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And that's the other thing we have to be concerned about here is that as we develop therapies and medications and hopefully vaccines, that it is available to everybody, and we don't allow the pharmaceutical industry to to take advantage of everybody by charging prices that, quite frankly, are unaffordable for most people, not only in the United States, but around the world. I mean, this is a global crisis.
Yeah, there's no safe place to go.
And so, I know the president sometimes has a tough time, working with other countries, but this is a time when you have to work with other countries. And when South Korea seems to be doing a better job at testing than us, and when we're refusing help from the World Health Organization, you're like, this doesn't sound right. I mean, this is a global pandemic. We're in this together. We need to work together. We need to support the research and the science going on everywhere in the world and get to a vaccine, get to a therapy to deal with this as soon as humanly possible. And it doesn't matter who discovers it. I mean, I don't care. It'd be wonderful if it was somebody from Worcester. We'd take great pride in that. But you know what? It could be somebody from halfway around the world, and that's fine too.
I'm going to be really proud that it's a human that comes out.
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Come on, human beings.
Right.
I believe in you.
Just do it, right? And by the way, as we go through this, I mean, there's some lessons to be learned. I mean, again, we need better preparedness for these kinds of crises too. I mean, we need to stockpile the kinds of protective gear that right now is in such short supply. I mean, it's hard to believe that. We're told our healthcare professionals, our first responders can't get this, can't get that because there's not enough. I mean, I don't know. I during World War II, we had to build planes, we had to build, ships, we had to, build our military up to fight, the Nazis, and yet. We're told we can't get masks. I mean, give me a break. I mean, we got to be able to do this, or that they're, we have them stockpiled somewhere. Well, get them out to people. They don't do any good when they're in some warehouse, so they have to get out to people. Yeah. And we got to get on with conquering this crisis.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. I gotta touch on your social media.
Okay.
It's like my favorite thing in the world.
That's where I'm into it.
So what got you into Instagram?
So, I mean, look, I'm 60, and so I've been in politics for a while, and one of the things I'm always very conscious of is that things are changing, and that if you don't change, you get stale.
Yeah.
And so, when I first ran for Congress in 1996, the way we communicated is very different than the way we communicate now. And but yet, I have colleagues, that are still stuck, in an era
Direct
of 20, 30 years, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it, but some people still get their information that way. But others more and more get it from other places. And we get into Facebook, and Facebook is still relevant, but it's an older group that tends to follow Facebook, and then Twitter. Well, Twitter is Twitter, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But then my daughter is so you got to get into things that people actually look at, and people are interested in knowing about you more, not just through what you post in terms of a tweet or a picture on Facebook. I mean, they want to get to know you a little bit.
It builds a level of trust.
Right, and Instagram is a way to do that. And so
Your daughter's
I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not. I mean, we have some people that have really good Instagram accounts. I'm still getting used to walking down, the corridors of the Capitol, holding my, my phone out here, trying to record myself talking, like.
But I love that. That's what makes it so real.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be cool if you had like a video crew walking around and getting like the shots, and they had a boom mic and all that stuff. But it's more real that you just left the meeting and you're walking down the hallway on your way to either your office or another meeting, and you're informing people in real time.
Well, when you're holding your phone like this,
you look ridiculous.
Right, I look like I'm like something like whoa, like.
That's why you have AIDS.
Could I get a better angle?
Yeah, exactly.
Could I get a better angle? But it's it's funny. We were just talking earlier about I did right before yesterday I cooked some Guinness Irish stew to bring to my sister's house.
Looked delicious.
And so I recorded myself doing that because I figured, I mean, with all the stuff we're posting on the current crisis. I mean, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. But you can still make Guinness Irish stew in your house. So we, tried to do that, and I did it a couple of years. I did a similar thing a couple of years ago. Although a couple of years ago, I had my daughter record me while I was doing it, and it was much better because the pot didn't look like it was going to fall on the floor. Right. No. And I made Irish stew, and I made Colcannon potatoes, which is Irish potatoes with a little cabbage and green onions and butter in it. And and there's some things I post like that I think are profound, but nobody else does except me. And so
I know
anyway,
that feeling.
I was gonna say
so anyway, I did this post, about making an Irish dinner. And I was doing a press conference on immigration in Boston with Mayor Marty Walsh. We were in City Hall Plaza. And I'm not exaggerating. While we're waiting to start the press conference, about six different people went by and said, "Hey, loved your post on the corned beef. I made corned beef at that time. I poured Guinness into the pot and boiled or whatever. And I said, loved it. It was great. Oh, I never had Colcannon potatoes before, but I went to a restaurant after I saw your post, and I had them, and they were really, really good." And
that's awesome.
And so Mayor Walsh was like, "What are they talking about?" I said, "Well, I did this post, and so sometimes, things a little bit more personal, elicit more of a reaction than here's my view on whatever the issue is."
Well, I think it's also important to do the personal stuff, because then when you post something that's your view on something, it's kind of, in my opinion, taken a little more seriously. Like you almost feel like you more. Like, I trust you because I watched you make dinner, so the information you're giving me, I feel, is coming from a very trusted source, instead of just being nonstop selling all the time.
No, and I do. I mean, look at Tip O'Neill said that all politics is local. I think I would add one more thing to it. All politics is personal.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so I think again, these new forms are a little bit intimidating sometimes for people like me, but we're working our way through it, and it's I'm enjoying some of the things that we're posting and doing. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
Every election cycle, the thing is, keeps coming back is, I want to have a beer with him. He seems like a guy I could have a beer with. Well, through the power of social media, you literally could have a beer with somebody.
That's
absolutely
true. That's really good.
Maybe that could be a post. I could sit
do an Instagram live.
I could just sit there and drink a beer.
Yeah.
But
that'd be awesome, actually.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Just hear your thought. I mean, so like, I look back to like even the fireside chats where people used to go around their radios listening to. That's essentially what these can be. These can be these connection points where you can, express information, but you could also have that personal touch where you're like, and tonight I'm drinking Dogfish Head, whatever.
Yeah, just hanging out, having a beer, and
that connection.
Talking.
That's what we're all looking for, especially now more than ever, that we're feeling a little bit more isolated.
Well, I want people to feel comfortable to come up to me and tell me what they think.
Great.
And so, and I. One of the things I take very, very seriously is making sure that I'm accessible. I mean, I do. We do big town halls, which are interesting, but we also do smaller town halls too. We call them coffees with your congressman. Well, I'll do a restaurant or a general store, and we'll get 100 people that will show up. But it won't be, we'll just advertise it. We'll just put it out on social media just for a few towns. So that you can actually, because if some of you have these mega, town meetings, which we do. Not everybody gets to ask a question. And then people, line up, and 2 hours into where you're like, okay, we'll be here another 3 hours if we get to everybody. But at these smaller things, you get more interaction, and I think it's for me it's really, really important because I'm not a mind reader, so if I'm not interacting with people at that kind of local level and that personal level, I can think that maybe I'm doing things that they want or that they think are important when in fact they don't, or vice versa, right? I mean, so. So we do. But I've been doing Pints and Politics.
I was gonna say, I saw you do the Redemption Rock.
Right, we did it at Redemption Rock, which is a great place, and we got to find ways to keep supporting Redemption Rock during this difficult time. But and a lot of people just show up, and it's good and it's fun, and it's also. So it's a good little boost for the business or the restaurant or the coffee shop we go to as well.
Yeah.
But it's real. I mean, having a politician that wants to come out and actually hear from you, that actually talks to you, like those town hall settings, a lot of times you typically only get the people that are angry. You don't get the people that are just cool or copacetic. So like giving that full forum to be like, let me hear how I'm doing.
And in these days, I mean, in these times, sometimes you get people that come to these mega town halls that aren't even from your district or your state. I did one with Ed Markey on the Green New Deal at Clark University. And, a couple of people that were not particularly friendly, I find out at the end of it, I said, where are you from? Where are you from? They say, New Hampshire, but they didn't like I was on the Rules Committee. We were doing the impeachment stuff. And so they came all the way in from New Hampshire just to let me know how upset they are, which is fine. I mean, I'm happy to, but it's like, when it's a few towns at a time, when you do it in a coffee shop or a general store or even a town hall, in one of the smaller towns, it's just more intimate. And by the way, everyone who comes to that doesn't say, "Oh, we love you." Sometimes people come and tell me how much they hit me.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure.
I mean, I had a woman. She said, "I don't know what to do." I said, "What's the problem?" She says, "You." I said, "What's wrong with me?" She says, "I can't stand the fact that you're my member of Congress." And I'm like, well, you could vote against me. She said, well, I did in the last election, and you're still here. And I'm like, well, maybe you could work harder, or maybe you could
find a better candidate.
Yeah, maybe you can move someplace else. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to fix that problem.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose yet.
Right.
So
I'm enjoying the work I'm doing, and I still have more to do.
So that but it's but also people feel more comfortable opening up about some of the challenges and the realities of their own lives, and you learn a lot, and that's important. I mean, I tell people that in Congress, or I would assume the same thing for city council, mayor, or member of board of selectmen. I mean, it's like you're in college, taking an interesting course, and it's about constantly learning. I mean, I don't know everything. I grew up here in Worcester, and I had certain experiences, but I didn't have every experience that everybody I bump into has had. And if people don't talk to me, they don't tell me, then
how are you going to know?
I don't really know, right?
Yeah.
And so I. So I really enjoy even when I bump into people who are not particularly enthusiastic about me, it's still I really enjoy doing it. I realized a long time ago that I'm not universally loved, and
Nobody is.
And some of the people who don't like me can be a little over the top, but it is what it is. I mean,
I'm sure you developed thick skin over the years.
Yeah, I've got like alligator skin. I mean, it's like, there's no.
You have to be in the public eye, and then again to move up to where you have.
There's no. I mean, when I was in college, I worked my way through college working in the office of Senator George McGovern, no relation.
Saw that.
Yeah, big liberal of South Dakota, anti-war, they wanted to end all poverty. I mean, just really idealist. And in 1972, I was in middle school, and when he was first running, and I remember a couple of my teachers were working on his campaign. I asked if I could help out. I passed out leaflets and bumper stickers, and he won Massachusetts convincingly. I take credit for that.
As you should.
But he lost 49 other states. So, but I went to college and I went to work for him. And I remember he just was so different then. I mean, I remember getting into the Senate subway, and Strom Thurmond was across from me. And I just, everything I read about Strom Thurmond, I detested. But I couldn't bring myself to say anything rude to him other than just hello. But I didn't feel it was appropriate to berate him in the Senate subway car. And but now it's different. I mean, people will say things to you on airplanes. I had a guy in a business suit a few weeks ago, and I said, "How you doing?" He was looking at me, so I thought I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I was doing fine until I saw you." And I said, well, I'll try to work harder. He says, I want to make you happy. He says, the only way you can make me happy is resign immediately. And I wanted to push the woman in front of me who was taking her time putting her bag up into the bin. I was like, okay, let's,
You're a lovely gentleman, aren't you?
I really,
Goodness.
Yeah, but the vast majority of people you bump into are really, really nice. But look, our political culture has coarsened, and Trump has helped that along. Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, the President of the United States tweets and says things that, you would scold a teenager for saying those things. And when they embrace bigotry and racism and hate, when they advance conspiracy theories, it really is troublesome. And it's something that we have to be mindful of, because this is not the way our politics should be. No. Going back to George McGovern, a big liberal, one of his closest friends was Barry Goldwater, a big conservative. And I used to say to McGovern, how do you get along with him? He's such a right-wing conservative. He said, he's a nice guy. And you know what? We don't agree on a lot of things. I mean, McGovern wanted to cut the military budget. Goldwater wanted to quadruple it.
Yeah.
He says, but we have farms in our district. We agree on helping farmers, and we agree on helping small businesses, and we can work together. And you don't have to agree on everything to agree on something.
That's how politics should work.
And and you work on things you can work on, and where you disagree on principle, you fight those things out. But it doesn't have to be personal and vindictive, and you don't have to be berated if you're. If somebody disagrees with you, there's just we have
Keep
to,
it about the policy,
right? And so I worry that if we can't kind of change the tone, then good people aren't going to want to run, and we need good people to run. We have enough bad people. We need some good people to run. But if you want to run for office, be prepared to have. Negative ads, be prepared if your family attack, be prepared. Go right down the list.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
A lot of people like to do it, but I don't need that, right? I'll go on and, I'll run my business, or I'll continue to teach, or I'll work in the nonprofit sector, or whatever, but I'm not going to go out there and put my name on the ballot. And that's unfortunate, because we need good people of both parties.
Agreed.
To run, and
level-headed leaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with that stuff. I mean, that's how we're going to make true progress, is actually coming together on the stuff we can find common ground on.
Right.
And keeping it about policy. We got into this stuff talking about social media. I even, you bring up the president and his social media. I find comparisons. Do you know about the Table Talk Pie Twitter account? This is a very odd, very specific topic.
I don't.
So we don't know who runs it. They don't either.
Yeah, Table Talk has no idea who runs it.
The tweets that come out are sometimes, it's almost as if somebody that had learned English as a second language had composed the sentences. And they're just the social distancing tweet that just said social distancing in all caps. This is the president now.
Oh, yeah.
With an exclamation point, with no extra context, no real explanation. That's the whole tweet.
Yeah.
That was just Table Talk could have tweeted that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the same thing.
Yeah, I was asked yesterday if I wanted to give my analysis of how I think the president has handled this crisis. And I said, I have lots of opinions, but it's probably not terribly constructive to go into them in any detail right now. But because we have to deal with what's here and now, and we have to figure out what the future is. But but in general, I can't believe that someone like him is in the Oval Office, and it's not his policies. I don't. It's just his behavior, the lack of decency.
That's absurd.
Lack of leadership.
I always tell people, all my life, I've always admired and respected the office of the president, and I've always respected the occupant of the Oval Office, even when it was somebody I strongly disagreed with. But I feel differently now. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed. I feel frightened. And he's so erratic, and it's about him and not about the country. And even on this crisis, we should have been doing things a lot earlier than we did.
You brought up attention to it before. Yeah. We should have had the people in place.
Right. They
were in place.
Right. They used to be. And and this is why we always say it's important to believe in science. This is why, because scientists know what they're talking about when it comes to things like, pandemics, and it's not a hoax. It wasn't created by the Democrats. But even now we have a major news network that continues to, dabble in these conspiracy theories. It's just so unhelpful and counterproductive and dangerous, especially in a moment like this.
Yeah.
I saw Mitt Romney not too long ago. I said, I didn't support you, as you know, but, I think you're a decent guy. And I think you would have been a fine president. I would have disagreed with you on probably most of what you wanted to do. But I think, the presidency, as Franklin Roosevelt said, is primarily a place of moral leadership. And it's become we're in the gutter now.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand all of his defenders, who who no matter what he tweets, no matter how awful or condescending some of these he says, just think it's just fine. And that's just, we got to figure out a way to.
It's good that he's finally has the balls to say that stuff.
Well, I mean, but when you start saying things that are racist, and you start saying things that are, that could put people's lives in danger, like this is a hoax.
Yeah.
We're in a different category here. When you start rattling the sabers and, talking about dropping bombs on people and stuff like that, again, that puts us in a situation where, we have to be very, very reflective of whether this is the kind of leader we want. So this is a challenging time in this country and in this world for a whole bunch of reasons, but the guy who's in the Oval Office right now has made it particularly difficult.
Totally agree. Do
you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're about 40 minutes in.
No. Well, all right. So let's change topics. Mm-hmm. You grew up in Worcester?
Yep.
What's one thing you miss about old Worcester? What's one place you wish was still around?
Well, I was walking in here. There used to be a restaurant called the Eden Garden that was right around here, which I used to come to as a kid.
Was your dad's liquor store within Worcester?
Yeah, it's still here. It's still here. It's still here on West Boylston Street. Yeah, and my cousin had one on Millbury Street. But my dad's package store is still going strong on West Boylston Street. My brother-in-law is running it.
Okay.
I suppose if I lose my election, I could maybe get a job.
Hey, you got a fallback plan. That's not so bad.
Yeah, I used to work there when I was in high school and in college, and it was fun.
I'm sure it was.
My dad was an interesting guy. He unfortunately passed away right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he loved the city, and he was very, very, dedicated to supporting anybody from the city. So I remember as a kid, I'd go into the package store and I'd say, "Can I get a Coke?" He said, "We don't sell Coke here." I said, "Well, yeah, every place they sell Coke. We only sell Polar sodas, only Polar."
Really?
That's awesome.
I said, "Well, why don't you sell Coke?" He said, "Well, because these are local people, and you know what? And we have an obligation to support our local businesses." It was, not today. You can get a Coke in my father's store. But having said that, I love Polar. I mean, I love Polar sodas, and I love the sparkling water, the seltzers and stuff like that. They're all great. But he was it was like
first.
I mean, it took forever to get him to open it up to other varieties. Interestingly enough, Polar is probably their seltzers and are probably the biggest soft drink sellers other than beer and wine and scotch and vodka and everything else you buy in the store. But
it's wonderful to hear.
It's ahead of the time.
The old Main Street. I used to buy as a kid. I used to go to my parents' to a place called Ware Pratt to buy my clothes every year before we started the school year. My grandmother was a waitress. Worked at a number of restaurants on Main Street that are no longer here. But I remember Main Street when it was hopping, and then it kind of died, and now it's coming alive again, which is really, really exciting. The Denholm building, where a lot of the social service agencies are. I remember as a kid going there with my mother and my grandmother shopping, and it's interesting. The floors still creak in the same places back when I was.
But it was bustling.
Right? Yeah, it was bustling.
I wish I could have seen it then.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures, but I've walked into that building especially, and it looks so cool.
It's the same escalator.
Yeah.
The same design of the escalator and stuff.
Midtown Mall's the same way.
Yeah.
Where you look at it and you're like, for all intents and purposes, this should still be cool.
Yeah.
This should all be filled with local businesses and we should be flocking, but.
And and to the credit of Ed Augustus, he is helping keeping people focused on how to rebuild the city in a way that I think kind of brings back some of the best of the old, but also recognizes that we have to be new and I think I'm just really thrilled with the way things are moving forward. Look, we have some challenges. We have to make sure that we keep our eye on affordable housing. I don't want this city to become a place where, people can't. Afford to live here. If the rents are too expensive, or
Let's keep.
If you do that, then this city ceases to be the Worcester that has a lot of heart and soul. It's funny. So sometimes when I go to work in Washington, I get there early in the morning before anyone else gets there, and usually the phones are put on, to record messages, but sometimes they forget to do it. And so the phone will be ringing, and so I'll go and say, "Hey, Jim McGovern's office." And a few times you get irate phone calls. Someone say, "Hey, who am I hate him." And I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I'm an intern. Let me take your name and address, and I will tell him, that you don't like him. I'm not giving you my name and address." And I'll say, "Well, okay, but at least tell me the city or town you're from, so I can tell him where he's not liked." And I swear this has happened so many times. The person on the line will go, "I'm from Worcester." And I'm like,
Lying son of a gun.
I know. I said, yeah, I know the people of Worcester really don't like him very much. So
Yeah, the
I will
people of
pass that on.
Worcester.
Right. But, it's like, that's the great thing is because you get calls from all over the country and most people can't pronounce Worcester.
Yeah.
So
You can just weed them out.
right,
They're
weed them
not.
out. But I'm really proud of this city. I'm proud I'm from here. And it's just been great to talk to so many people who I've known for many, many years who are coming back here and they're saying, "Wow, this is great," and and a lot of people who have been living here forever, are not only excited about the downtown, but want to retire in apartments downtown.
They can see themselves
right
downtown.
because there are places to go. I mean, you could walk to places. For a while, especially when the Worcester Galleria started, failed. This was like a ghost town.
Oh yeah.
And now it's just changed. We had Bill Clinton here right before the Massachusetts primary, in 2016, and
He was at Crompton, I think.
yeah, I brought him to Crompton. We brought him to Crompton. We did a thing in Crompton, but and they opened the place up for him because it was Chelsea's birthday, so he didn't get her anything. So he went and bought a few things for her.
That's
there.
awesome.
But he was,
Smooth.
yeah, but he was walking around and just it was like just was amazed because we went up and saw all the new businesses that were there. He was like he said, "You guys are smart. Not just tearing these buildings down. I mean, you are, so many cities have just like ripped everything down and started, and they just, you preserve the old and you can bring in the new.
Gives it character too.
That's the sustainable approach.
Right, and he, but he had been to the city several times before, and so he was like just saying, his brief kind of in and out here, he was like, boy, things are happening here, and he noticed that, but.
Yeah.
But friends I had in college, who would came up, help campaign or whatever. Like I can't believe that all this stuff is happening here, and it's good. I mean, and again, and part of it, a lot of it goes to the fact that we're much more focused. I remember when I was when we first got elected here. When I first campaigned, I said I want to help restore the city. I want to help bring the manufacturing base back. The usual stuff you hear people say, and I kind of realized after I got elected that I said all those things, but I really, I don't want to say I didn't know what I was talking about, but I didn't have a roadmap, right? I know I wanted more businesses here. I wanted downtown alive. I wanted more manufacturing, but it was like, how do you get there? Sure. And so I figured, well, I got to figure out how to get there. So I remember I was talking to the city leaders who were in place at the time, and my first question was, can you share with me the economic development plan for Worcester? And I was told, well, which plan are you talking about? I said, well, are there multiple plans? Well, there's multiple plans. I said, or we're in the process of developing a plan, or why are you asking the question?
Right, it's all up here.
Right, and I said, well, the reason I'm asking the question is because I'm not an experienced developer, and I'm not a city planner, but it just seems to me that, we don't know what we're doing. For example, I mean, I live off Burco Street, on Burco Street, and I'm happy that there's the movie theaters are on Brook Street. Sometimes I can walk to the theaters I want to. It's convenient. But, that movie theater being located there is a catalyst or a stimulus for nothing. I mean, there's nothing that can be developed around there, right? So people go to the movies, but you're not stimulating additional development. Why didn't you put it downtown? Why didn't you insist that it stay downtown? That would have attracted more businesses downtown. The answer I got was that's where they wanted to go. I said, okay. So I gave a speech before the Chamber of Commerce, and that was not a big fan of mine, I should tell you, when I was running for Congress. And I had a nice speech prepared, and I kind of discarded it because I want to be very honest with you. I know some of you don't like me, but because you think I'm too liberal. But let me just tell you my impression of economic development in the city. It reminds me of my 3-year-old son's soccer team. When somebody kicks the ball to the right, you all run to the right. When they kick the left, they run to the left. No one knows what
That's a wonderful analogy.
I was going to say, that's the best.
Nobody knows what their position is. And I said, I don't have the magic plan, but boy, it seems to me that, if we really are serious about moving forward, you got to have a plan. Anyway, ultimately, we did come up with a plan. And the other thing we did is we helped bring our colleges and universities to the table because they have incredible resources and leverage, and they can help us. The whole Gateway Park project we did with WPI, that was we did a summit on WPI's campus about manufacturing our future, and the end of the summit was, this is what we should build. Bioengineering, medical device, research. And in that whole area, which when I got elected in 1996 was blighted, is now a beautiful gateway into the city.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
We helped we've invested a lot more in the redevelopment of Main South, the Gardner-Kilby Hammond neighborhood. We helped with the Boys and Girls Club and the playing field there. And now real estate agents are telling me more and more people want to buy houses in Main South. And at the time, we had some people at City Hall who were like, "Why are you investing in that area? Because no one votes. No, it's not. You're wasting your money." Things are changing, right? You gotta.
Some things take time. Some things take an investment.
And what is really, to me, heartening is that we've got a lot of people, not only in city government. Joe Petty's done a great job. But in our state legislative delegation, who now actually believe in every single neighborhood in the city.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And as a result, we're moving forward, and I think the best is yet to come.
And it's with that understanding and that community touch that we're not going to leave the people that have been here behind, and we're not going to price
Absolutely, we better not. And
they have a seat at the table.
And if people are getting priced out of here, and we're seeing them, we all ought to raise holy hell.
Agree.
I mean, because that's
our culture.
Right.
That's what makes the city beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's and I feel and I think if we're all committed to that'll be the reality. And also during this difficult time, as we began this podcast, I mean, we have to make sure that our small businesses, our restaurants, our bars, are made whole in the aftermath of this coronavirus crisis. We cannot ignore them. We have to be there for them. And so if that means a bailout for regular people, then boy, I'm happy to vote for that.
Yeah, agreed. And keep an eye out on each other, throughout all this stuff.
Yeah, get creative.
I wanted to point out mutualaidworcester.com. It's a community resource network that has popped up, and that's where I saw the scheduling for the trucks and the stuff like that. So check out that resource. There's more like that out there. And I love stay connected through Instagram. Stay connected through social media.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to know how to make a good Guinness Irish stew, easy, check out my Instagram.
What's on the menu this weekend? What should we look forward to?
I don't know. I actually like to cook, believe it or not.
Really?
I do. It's good therapy.
Oh, it's
it keeps your mind off of everything else. And, and I do most of the cooking in our family.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, but since St. Patrick's Day Irish stew, I got a good recipe for a Tuscan pork shoulder.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is really pork shoulder with bone in it, ground fennel and pepper, and a little white wine on top of it, and slow roasting it all day. That
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
My wife told me she's going to make shepherd's pie tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited.
Good. Well, that's a great. I love shepherd's pie too. So.
And she's even going to make one without lamb for me because I'm a wuss.
So what do you have? Just beef?
Beef.
Yeah. Good.
But she's going to make the lamb one. I think she's going to have a friend over.
Yeah.
So.
We made like a shrimp curry last night, so
Ooh.
I wasn't home. I was at my parents' house, so I'm excited to eat that later.
Well, Jim, it's been fantastic having you on. We really appreciate your efforts for our city, for our community, and thank you for coming on our show.
My pleasure. Let's do it again, and you should bring this to DC.
Do it.
Yeah.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Seltzer Time on the road.
Yeah.
Let's go.
How do people find you on social media?
You go to at Rep McGovern is my Twitter account. You go to jimmcgovern.com, go to my webpage, and it tells you whatever venue you want to communicate with me through. I'm there. And by the way, and if people have suggestions or concerns about how we approach this current crisis, get a hold of me. You can email me. You can call my office or whatever. I mean, we're doing some community forums, but they have to be 25 or less.
Yeah.
And we're doing lots and lots of conference calls. I mean, I did a conference call last week with the heads of our hospitals and community health centers. Later this afternoon, I'm doing some with kind of the point people who oversee public health for all the cities and towns in my district, because they have a role in all of this. We're going to probably do one with small businesses, especially since we're preparing another package in Congress. So
we should do an Instagram live.
Yeah, I think maybe do an Instagram live.
I think that'd be great.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out the best way. I like looking at people, and I like being in a room with people. At this point, that's not a good option.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out. There are teletown halls, Instagram Live.
People are going to services like Twitch, and like teachers are now moving to Twitch just because that infrastructure is already set up. Right. This is like what the gamers, the guys that play video games, or that sort of thing, talk to large audiences on. And through those means, they're able to communicate. There's a whole chat section right there, so people can interface with you. But it's going to be weird. It's going to be.
It is
slightly cyberpunk.
It's weird. It's exciting though too.
Yeah, we just again, and I. You talked about some of the things that are going on in the community. I mean, I was at a meeting this morning with the United Way. City Councilor Soraya Rivera, Ed Augustus was there, representative from the mayor's office, but with a number of our key providers who provide social services to a lot of the vulnerable populations. The superintendent of schools was there as well today. Again, as we talk about how we respond to this, it's not just about how you keep small businesses whole, right? It's about what happens to the employees, what happens to the mother or father who has to stay home from work because their 11-year-old can no longer be at school.
Yeah.
How do they pay their bills? Somebody who's been sent home because they're not well, they're coughing or whatever. It's like, people who don't fall into a nice, neat category of workers. We talked about musicians before, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have to make sure that everybody is being taken care of, and that we're trying to address their needs and challenges the best we can. I mean, that's what communities do.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what a community should be about.
Right. And it's, we have a few outliers that it's kind of, I'm in it for myself and blah, blah, whatever. Those people, we just have to ignore them.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to, I'm also very worried about the immigrant community here. After over 3 years of immigrant bashing coming from the White House, I mean, there are a lot of families who are just afraid to come forward. And it's not because they may be undocumented, many of them are not. I mean, many of them may have a mother or a father or a sister or brother or an uncle who may be in there just paranoid by the rhetoric. Well, we need people who aren't feeling well to come forward and inquire whether they should be tested. We need to make sure that their kids are getting fed, that they used to get school meals. Make sure they're getting the adequate nutrition. We need to make sure that if they need healthcare, they get healthcare. We're all in this together.
Seriously.
Right. And it is.
If we don't, we're only going to do ourselves harm by not helping these people.
Right. And by the way, when you come forward to any of our hospitals or you call any of our doctors or community health centers, I mean, there's no question. They don't ask any question about your citizenship or how you get ready. That's totally off limits. It's a totally safe thing to do. But we need to make sure that we reinforce the fact that it's safe so that people feel comfortable doing it, especially now.
Agreed.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
All right. We'll see you in Washington, I hope.
Yeah.
All right.
So whenever you guys want. Just go on down.
We can't shake, so we'll do
We're doing like air high.
We'll do the Mr. Spock.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You want to take some seltzers for the road? So thanks again to Representative McGovern. That was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, being super approachable to
That was so enlightening.
everybody.
Like
He's the best.
I knew a little bit about him, and then before this show I did some research, but just sitting there having a conversation, like, that is a guy that I will vote for because he feels like he has as a person in my community or in his community, whatever. He feels like he has my best interest at heart, and he's, considering the bigger picture, and he's considering the people here. The fact that he had a very honest approach to gentrification, and like the fact that he's recognizing it, it's on his radar. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, that's kind of all you can ask for at a time like this. I mean, we're not an overly political podcast.
By no means are we a political podcast,
but
we have opinions. And
we have
care about
opinions,
people.
and we had a politician on, so of course it's going to be a political episode. And
Because even still, it wasn't overly political. It's
no,
more
it wasn't.
humanitarian.
No, exactly, and it wasn't. There were no. It was good to hear a voice of somebody who is a leader in the community and literally in the country.
Seriously.
At a time like this where, all you kind of want, we're looking for leadership. To have somebody like that step up to the plate and sit down with us for an hour and talk and kind of like, honestly, like, I feel a little bit better knowing that he's there going to bat for all of us.
Hell yeah.
That was awesome. I mean,
That
was
dude right there is the traffic cop of the House of Representatives. So not a bill gets... That's what
awesome.
the internet describes it as.
Really?
A
That's
bill
great.
does not get introduced without his knowledge.
That's awesome.
That's what the head of his department does.
That's so sick.
To know that he's a real dude.
Yeah.
So that gives me so much faith.
Yeah. He's got sicko mode as his ringtone. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I was kind of hoping he'd dump into it and start rapping it, but...
Next time.
You know how I feel about the name Travis, so...
True.
All right, but we didn't want to waste his time with Stokes and Pokes because we had him for only a very short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like more now than ever, he's probably a very busy person at the moment.
And he didn't cancel on us, and he didn't postpone us, so we were very grateful for that.
Yeah, would have totally understood if that was the
Seriously.
case. I honestly was not expecting, but
As of this morning.
I kept checking my email, and his camp emailed us on Saturday, and I was like, oh no. And I opened it, and they were just like, hey, can we just move it up an hour? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like, whatever you guys want to do. And then today, I would not have been surprised, only because of what's going on right now, and he's needed in much bigger areas. But I think that goes to show, like, he actually cares. He's going outside of like a normal, or I guess like quote unquote like traditional way of getting his message out there, and just kind of getting his voice out there and trying to keep people at ease.
Cooking on Instagram, coming on this podcast.
Genius.
It shows that he's, like he said, if you're not going to change, you're going to get left behind.
Exactly.
So it's being smart and being adaptable, being resourceful. So yeah,
It's beautiful.
all right. So Solon, this thing is incredible, buddy.
So, oh my God, dude, the Stokes and Pokes Solon songs have been out of control.
I love it so much, Solon. Thank you so much.
This kid's an absolute legend.
Everybody go follow at only Solon.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Oh, Solon came on our... Oh, we'll talk about the Instagram live after we do
be right
Stokes and
back.
Pokes.
sweet Travis in the front, cruising down 290 in the hot, hot sun. Suddenly red blue lights flash us from behind. Loud voice booming, please step out onto the line. Ricky preached words of comfort, Travis just tied size. Policeman taps his shades, are you the guys from Seltzer Time? Stokes and Pokes. Stokes and Pokes, Stokes and Pokes.
How bizarre.
How bizarre. Song of the summer.
I love it.
I feel like I haven't done that in a couple days. I should get back into Song of the Summer. I was on a good routine, and then things got a little crazy. So I'll bring it back though.
I watched a TikTok about, it was like this little mouse or hamster talking about coronavirus prep and how I should wash my hands. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's adorable.
I love that.
Yeah, John Oliver on the sort of on that
That's
sort of
my
late
boy.
show. Oh my God.
Wait.
Did you watch his show last night?
No, that's what I'm gonna do tonight. No,
Oh
I
my-
didn't. I
He
didn't.
put the whole thing on the internet.
He's the greatest.
Audience free.
Yep.
It's he did another one on coronavirus, and it's going to be the last one for a while.
Right.
But it's brilliant.
He's the absolute
Again,
best.
more people understanding and having a very real conversation about this shit.
Yep. I'm not a big Joe. Before we get into Stokes and Pokes, sorry, I'm not a huge Joe Rogan guy. He just isn't my thing. But he had on a doctor to talk about coronavirus over it was on Monday's episode or something like that. So I shared it. It's on my Facebook and everything. Definitely talked about it, but it was wildly informative. I thought that was pretty impressive because he had it on before things really got crazy on the second half of the week. It was either Monday or Tuesday, I think that episode dropped of his, and it was kind of wild. So
Cool.
go check that episode out. It's important. Listen to people who actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Not Joe Rogan, but the professor he had on.
expert.
Yeah. But shout out to Joe Rogan for using his platform correctly.
So while we're going to stoke and poke, we're going to keep these kind of brief. I'm poking social isolation. My grandmother turns 90 at the day we record this, so happy birthday, Grandma.
Oh, happy birthday.
Dorothy's gone around the sun 90 times, and that's...
Awesome.
I'm sorry, not around the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a year's one full-time around the sun, sorry. So it was fantastic. I wish we could have celebrated with you, Grandma. I know you're not listening to this podcast, but know that I love you and know that I'm so proud that you're my grandma.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as this stuff blows over, I'm going to come down. We're going to get pizza down at Zoe's, and it'll be good stuff.
Pizza sounds great.
Grandma likes her pizza, and then she always finishes with a tea, decaf tea with a spot of lemon. And God help you if you forget a lemon. But just in terms of that in general, just as a reminder, reach out, give a call, just reach out to your neighbors. Like we were talking to Jim, it's time to be neighborly.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I was at the grocery store early on Sunday morning, and people were actually being very nice to each other.
Really?
One old woman was having a hard time dealing with that price rate they put in, the self-checkout stuff.
Yeah.
Not everybody should use the self-checkout stuff.
Yeah.
Not everybody is technologically savvy, which is, I'm not holding that against them.
No, yeah.
And in this time, it's the place to go. It's the fastest. So I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye a young woman about to berate an older woman for taking too long. No, the young woman walked up and very calmly showed the older woman what she was doing wrong.
That's
Together
awesome.
they got through their stuff. The person ahead of me, the woman was trying to reach something in her cart and it was knocking into something, and it should have caused friction.
Yeah.
And the guy was just like, hey, let me help you with that. And
That's
people
great.
were being super. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah, for sure.
I commented to the cashier, and she's like, "Oh, well, you missed the hard stuff."
Of course.
My manager had to wrestle a thing of toilet paper out between two gentlemen who were literally fighting over it.
That's so insane.
So knock that off.
Yeah.
Let's care about one another. We're gonna get through this together. Even
true.
if you're the only one left, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, good point.
I am stoked. Last week, I had the pleasure of watching probably the coolest thing I've done in terms of my graphic design. I had the honor of designing the Gene McDonough Art Center logo, which is where the Worcester Pop-Up, it's a pop-up space here in the city that can be rented out for no cost to any institution or art, whatever person that wants to come in with a plan. They can take it over, put it on exhibit. The exhibits are typically free and open to the public, so it's a really good vehicle for showing your art and kind of connecting to that community that we keep building on. And then additionally, it will also contain the Brick Box Theater, which is our community theater space. We are seriously lacking spaces for people to go see like smaller plays, smaller musicals, not like the Hanover size, but like really kind of like underground theater.
Yeah.
And that space will be for that. And
That's
it's
really
fantastic. Cool. We got to walk around and check the inside of that. It's not ready yet, but it's getting there. But on top of all that, I got to design the logo, and then they put that logo on the side of the building in neon lights. I got chills when they turned it on.
Yeah.
And like big shout out to Joe Jacobs, who was out there with his camera and his drone. He grabbed me some amazing shots.
Gangster.
I'm now finally like stoked on the way the homepage looks for hunchbackgraphics.com.
Okay.
Like, because now it has the JMAC and anyway, it was an honor. I loved hearing what Jean McDonough has done. Her and her husband Miles have their FlexCon. FlexCon is a vinyl and adhesive back printing substrate. It's world used. They've made a lot of money. They've also invested a lot of that money right back into our creative community. And it is because of people like them that we're able to sit here and do a podcast about cracking bubbly cans of water in this city and have it be any kind of like treated with any type of seriousness.
Yeah.
Because we can be creative and weird and it's thanks to gifts from people like them. So that's super awesome. And it was also really good hearing Ed Augustus just keep touting how much creativity plays a role in the modern day city and in modern day culture, and how the arts and music and humanitarian efforts, like all that stuff, a modern day city cannot exist without that included. Like, it is what makes the culture and what attracts people to want to be here.
Yeah.
And it's really, it just goes to show why there are so many of us that love this city and feel so passionate about this city, because we are all on the same page, that we recognize that this stuff is important, and we're holding our government kind of accountable to invest in it. And now we're holding these wealthy individuals in our community, and they're doing it even without any other pressure. So long story short, I love this city. I really care about everybody that listens to this podcast. Just watch out for each other, and we're gonna get through this and keep being our creative city.
It's true.
That we are. That's what I got.
That's what's up.
What do you got?
All right. My poke isn't really a poke. It's more, I guess it kind of is, actually. It's probably the only poke I've ever done in the true sense of the word poke. Like, where the point of this was to poke people into kind of going down the right road, instead of, if we don't like something, we're trying to get it turned around. So after Governor Baker's announcement last night, all bars and restaurants are pretty much shut down for the next month outside of takeout. That sucks. I get it, 100% understand. It's the right move for sure, but it sucks for a lot of people. It sucks for the business owners. It sucks for the people that work there, your bartenders, your servers. A lot of them legitimately lost their jobs last night. It's very, 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 very scary. My poke is watching a lot of the business owners are handling it the right way, in my opinion. Some of them aren't. I think now's your time to step up and be the leader that you want to act like you're a leader by owning a bar or a restaurant. Now it's time for you to actually step up to the plate, be a leader. Get creative, figure out ways. There's no way for every small business to pay all of their employees without working. I understand that. It's not magic. I'm not saying you should do that. Figure something out. Figure out whether it's, you're gonna, maybe what you do, since you can't have people come to your bar, how about this? How about you jump on Instagram Live or Facebook Live or one of the streaming services, make some videos on how to make those cocktails at home. Do a how-to. Do something like that. People will share it. People get eyes on your platform. Then when your bar or your restaurant, whatever, reopens, people want to come and drink it. Yes, you want them to make it at home, because if they're making it at home, they're going to, the local liquor store, or to Maker on Main, or to North Main Provisions, and they're getting, the certain ingredients or whatever they need. to make it at home, but they still are going to want to come and drink it from you. You taught them how to do it.
They're not going to make it as good as you are.
No, exactly. You're the professional. This is the reason why you have your job. Exactly. But get creative. Pop on there. Do something like that. Sponsor, or if you're a more well-off establishment in the city, sponsor one of the lives. Sponsor a musician that's going to do a half hour, 45-minute set. If they were supposed to play at your restaurant, throw them $100, Venmo them $100 to play on Instagram Live and give your restaurant a shout out. Wear your shirt, something like that. Like, get creative in ways where you're helping everybody, but also you're still technically marketing yourself. It's important. Keep eyes on your brand, but do it the right way.
By supporting other brands.
Exactly. Don't just give up. Don't just throw in the curtain. Don't just blame Governor Baker. And nobody wants to shut down bars and restaurants.
They're not taking this. This isn't coming lightly.
No.
If anything, this is done with large amounts of thought and consideration as to how many people this is going to just disrupt.
Exactly. Just like Jim said, they talk to scientists and to professionals. They're coming at this with facts and numbers.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. It's miserable.
But we're all going through it.
Yeah. So just get creative. If you guys have any questions, honestly, freaking DM us.
Seriously.
Between the two of us, we can either put you in contact with somebody that can help, or we can help with a brainstorming session or whatever. We're on board to help with this for as much as humanly possible, but just don't give up yet. On a lighter note, so my stoke is kind of down that same road. I'm really, really, really stoked on the way. So it started, at least the first couple of people I noticed were players for the Boston Celtics who literally just jumped on their personal Instagrams. There's no sexy video. There's no sexy picture with it. It's literally just Jaylen Brown being like, guys, take this seriously. This is a real thing. This is not a joke. It's a real life thing that's happening at this very moment. Please take it seriously. He understands his influence on people. He understands his reach. That's very important. After he did it, a bunch of other players have started doing it on the Celtics actual channel, which is kind of wild. To me, I love, again, going back to it, I love sports and I love social media. I'm super bored on, professional sports social media. It's all it is that super hyped, edited video. That's needed. I get it, and it's awesome. Every once in a while, hit them with something that's real. That's the whole point of it. And they're finally almost forced to do that. So I'm really hyped on that. I'm really hyped on the way bigger bands who have more resources, but also are being severely affected by this, have taken to the live stream aspect. Code Orange, it's a hardcore band.
Dude.
They're wildly good live. Not really my kind of music, but they're impressive live. They're very heavy. So they were kind of the first ones to do this. I don't know if they just came out with a new record or if they were coming out with a new record. Either way, their entire tour got canceled, which sucks.
All those dudes, a tour could be half a year's income.
Yeah,
it could be your whole year's income, depending on the type of tour you are.
That's where you make all your money, is touring and merch. So what they did was they set up a free live performance via Twitch at the venue that they have been practicing and rehearsing the show. Gave everybody the show that they were supposed to go see, and then opened up access to the tour merch, which is where they got paid. That's wildly innovative.
It's so smart.
They didn't charge you for the show, but they allowed you the free show with the hopes that you will now go and buy their merch and buy their record and stuff like that. That's the move right now. It's the only thing that makes sense. I have tickets to shows that have gotten postponed or hopefully not canceled. I am really hoping more bands do this. People are around. You can't go anywhere. You might as well just log on, watch this band, and then Venmo them $5, whatever. It's not just the band. They have a crew. They have drivers. They have merch guys. They've got techs. They've got families.
I mean, those are the bigger bands. A lot of these smaller bands don't even have.
They don't have that. Yeah, exactly.
And this is their thing. there are musicians where they're not even writing their own music. Like their day-to-day job is just go from bar to bar and play other people's music in a cover band type setting. It's still needed at these places. It still sets the place apart, and it has that intimate element of having an actual musician in the house.
A lot of them use that to pay their rent. so
and those people are still hurting.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, Dropkick Murphys. So this will come out tomorrow night or tomorrow morning. So tonight, if you're listening to this right now, Dropkick Murphys are doing a free live stream of their St. Patrick's Day set. It's the first time in 25 years they haven't played
Seriously,
on St. Patrick's Day.
That is a Boston staple.
It's pretty crazy.
I got to see them a couple years ago.
Yeah, they've never canceled. They've never not played on St. Patrick's Day, and they can't. And they're still figuring out a way to do it. So if you watch that, maybe buy a record, maybe buy a sticker, maybe just
share it. Just share the link.
Yeah, just share it.
You don't have money? Share the link.
Yeah. Watch them. That's an amazing live band. I know pretty much everybody I know has seen them 100 times by now, but like maybe when they do reschedule those, buy tickets and go. Like,
yeah.
Just get creative.
And that creativity goes out even if you don't have money. If you're truly right now affected, if you're one of the people we're describing and you don't have money, that's okay.
Yeah.
You still have a social media account. Go hype other businesses.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, I hear that this place is still jamming hot food. Like,
read them give them a review.
Oh my God, put a Yelp review.
Yeah. Figure out
only
something.
Time.
Figure out something.
It's all gonna help.
Just get creative right now. It's important.
All right. Well, this thing is pushing an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we want to get back to other stuff.
Yes.
So, but thank you guys so very much. We really appreciate all of you. We want you to take care of yourselves. Keep those hands washed.
Yeah.
Stop, I don't know. Don't be alone. We will do what we can to reach out. Make sure you're reaching out to your friends and fam.
Wash your friggin' hands.
Stop. Yeah. Stop touching your face out in public.
Yes. All right.
I have been Travis. You can find me on the interwebs at Hunchback Travis.
I have been Ricky. You can find me at DickChuck77 or Seltzer Time Official.
Guys, give this little podcast a thumbs up or a review. Maybe share it with a friend or two. That would help us grow. That would cost you $0.
It's true.
We want to make more digital friends, and we need your help.
If you guys have anything you guys want to get out there, please send it over, tag us in it. We're doing our best to try to get as much information out as possible. So whatever you want to see, let us know. We'll be doing some more Instagram lives. That was a pretty big hit the other night.
We just had too much fun. So.
Yeah, so if you guys want to hang out with us, let us know. We'll just do it virtually.
We love you all. We'll see you then.
It's true. Wash your hands. Sorry for partying.
The Seltzer Time Podcast is a co-production of Seltzer Time Official and TD Productions. Our intro music is Maple Boy by No Trigger. Our outro music is by The Salt Request. To find past episodes, search for Seltzer Time Official wherever you find podcasts. If you can't find us, let us know by sliding into our DMs on Instagram at SeltzerTime Official, and we'll get it fixed. Thanks for listening. See you next week.